Blade Runner vs. 2025. Which tech came true? Blade Runner predicted 2019 would have flying cars, synthetic humans, and off-world colonies. We got none of those. But what if I told you we got something even weirder and arguably more dystopian? We got algorithmic replicants that live in our phones, corporate advertisements that follow us everywhere, and AI that can fake human emotions better than most humans can express them. Let's check off Ridley Scott's tech predictions against our actual 2025 reality. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're playing the ultimate cyberpunk bingo with Blade Runner's predictions. We're going scene by scene through the 1982 masterpiece to see what Ridley Scott and Philip K. Dick got right, what they got wrong, and most importantly, what they got right in ways they never imagined. Spoiler alert, Blade Runner predicted our world with eerie accuracy, but the technology that came true isn't the technology they showed us. Instead of replicants walking among us, we got deep fakes. Instead of flying cars, we got ride-sharing algorithms. Instead of memory implants, we got social media that rewrites our memories in real time. By the end of this video, you'll realize that Blade Runner wasn't just predicting technology, it was predicting the soul of our technological future. Let's start with the most obvious miss: flying cars. Blade Runner's Los Angeles is filled with spinner vehicles floating between massive skyscrapers. We're in 2025, 6 years past Blade Runner's 2019 setting, and my car still can't fly. But here's the thing. We actually got something more interesting. We didn't get flying cars, but we got drone delivery systems that are essentially flying packages. Amazon Prime Air, Google Wing, and Zipline drones are doing exactly what those spinners were doing, moving through three-dimensional urban airspace for commercial purposes. And ride-sharing apps like Uber and Lyft created the on-demand transportation system that flying cars were supposed to provide. We don't hail flying taxis, but we do summon robot-dispatched ground vehicles with our phones. The function arrived without the form. Blade Runner's replicants were bioengineered humans, indistinguishable from the real thing except for emotional responses and implanted memories. We don't have synthetic humans walking among us, but we got something potentially more dangerous: synthetic humans living in our screens. Deepfake technology can now create videos of anyone saying anything with just a few photos. AI voice synthesis can clone anyone's voice from minutes of audio. We have virtual influencers like Lil Miquela with millions of followers who don't know she's completely synthetic. But here's the kicker. These digital replicants are affecting real human behavior and beliefs. When deep-faked politicians appear to say controversial things, real people vote based on fake information. We don't have replicants with artificial memories, we have artificial content giving real humans false memories. Blade Runner's world featured off-world colonies where the wealthy escaped Earth's environmental collapse. We were supposed to have Mars colonies by now, according to the film's timeline. We don't have Mars colonies, but we do have something Blade Runner predicted perfectly: the wealthy escaping environmental consequences. Instead of fleeing to space, they're building private bunkers, buying property in climate havens, and creating exclusive communities insulated from climate change. Elon Musk's Mars obsession, Jeff Bezos's Blue Origin, and the entire private space race are essentially trying to make Blade Runner's off-world colonies real. Space tourism for the ultra-wealthy has begun, and companies like SpaceX are seriously planning Mars settlements. But the most accurate prediction was the class divide. In Blade Runner, only the wealthy could afford to leave the polluted Earth. Today, only the wealthy can afford to escape the consequences of climate change, whether that's through relocation, private security, or eventually space travel. Blade Runner showed video calling as standard communication technology. In 1982, this seemed like science fiction. By 2025, video calls are so normal that we complain when they don't work perfectly. But Blade Runner got something deeper right: the isolation that comes with digital communication. Rick Deckard makes video calls in his empty apartment, surrounded by technology but emotionally disconnected. Sound familiar? We spend hours on Zoom calls, FaceTime chats, and video conferences, yet we're experiencing a loneliness epidemic. The film showed video calls as cold, transactional interactions. That's exactly what happened. We can see and hear people instantly across the globe, but digital communication often feels less human than old-fashioned phone calls. Blade Runner predicted the technology and the psychological cost. One of Blade Runner's most visually striking elements was massive corporate advertisements dominating the cityscape. Giant screens displaying Coca-Cola and other corporate messages towering over the streets. We didn't just get this, we got it on steroids. Digital billboards are everywhere, but more importantly, corporate advertising now follows us personally. Our phones show us targeted ads based on our location, our conversations, and our behavior patterns. Blade Runner showed static corporate messages on big screens. We got dynamic, personalized corporate messages on screens we carry with us everywhere. The advertising doesn't just dominate the cityscape, it dominates our personal space, our attention, and even our dreams through retargeting and behavioral manipulation. And just like in Blade Runner, these corporate messages aren't just selling products, they're selling entire worldviews and identities. Blade Runner's Los Angeles is an environmental wasteland where corporations control resources and the wealthy escape, while the poor suffer in polluted cities. This seemed like dystopian fiction in 1982. In 2025, we're living this reality. Climate change is accelerating, cities are becoming less habitable, and corporations do control essential resources. Amazon controls commerce, Google controls information, and a handful of companies control water rights globally. The film showed constant acid rain and environmental decay. We have wildfire smoke blanketing cities, unprecedented flooding, and extreme weather events becoming routine. The specific environmental problems were wrong, but the overall environmental collapse was prophetic. Most accurately, Blade Runner predicted that environmental destruction wouldn't stop corporate power, it would enhance it. Companies would profit from both causing and solving environmental problems. Blade Runner's Los Angeles is a city of extreme contrasts, gleaming corporate towers surrounded by decaying streets filled with desperate people. The wealthy live in penthouses while the masses struggle in overcrowded, polluted ground levels. This wasn't science fiction, it was prophecy. Modern cities like San Francisco, Seattle, and New York have tech company headquarters worth billions, surrounded by homeless encampments and affordable housing crises. The film showed a world where most people couldn't afford to leave Earth, stuck in deteriorating cities, while a few wealthy individuals escaped to luxury colonies. Today, most people can't afford to leave expensive tech cities, stuck in housing crises, while wealthy tech workers drive up costs and eventually move to private compounds or new cities. Blade Runner even predicted the gig economy. The film shows street vendors, independent operators, and people doing whatever work they can find in a world where traditional employment has collapsed. Advanced AI, almost human, 6:30 to 7:15, Blade Runner's replicants were AI so advanced they could almost pass for human, but failed at emotional complexity and had artificial memories that felt real to them. We don't have physical replicants, but we have AI that's eerily similar. ChatGPT and other language models can hold conversations that feel human, but lack genuine understanding. They have training data that functions like implanted memories, vast databases of human knowledge that they can access, but didn't actually experience. Like replicants, modern AI can fool us into thinking it's more human than it is. People develop emotional relationships with AI chatbots. We trust AI recommendations even when they're wrong. We anthropomorphize AI behavior just like humans in Blade Runner projected emotions onto replicants. The Turing test in Blade Runner was about detecting artificial humans. Today's Turing test is about detecting AI-generated content, fake social media accounts, and algorithmic manipulation of human behavior. Blade Runner imagined a world where artificial beings would walk among us physically. What we got instead is artificial intelligence that walks among us psychologically. We don't have humanoid robots doing manual labor, but we have algorithms doing emotional labor. Instagram's algorithm decides what makes us happy. TikTok's algorithm shapes our attention spans. Dating apps' algorithms influence who we love. These invisible robots are more powerful than physical replicants would be because we don't recognize them as artificial beings. At least Blade Runner's humans knew replicants were artificial. We interact with AI systems all day without realizing how much they're influencing our thoughts, emotions, and decisions. Social media versus memory implants, 7:45 to 8:30. In Blade Runner, replicants had artificial memories implanted to give them emotional depth and backstories they believed were real. This seemed like the ultimate violation of human consciousness. We didn't get memory implants, but we got something more insidious. Platforms that rewrite our memories while we watch. Social media doesn't implant fake memories, it makes us create and share fake memories voluntarily. Instagram makes us curate our lives to look happier than they are. Facebook's memories feature reshapes how we remember our past by choosing which moments to resurface. TikTok's algorithm creates false nostalgia for experiences we never had. Unlike Blade Runner's replicants, who eventually discovered their memories were artificial, we're losing the ability to distinguish between our authentic experiences and our curated digital personas. Blade Runner implied that future conflicts would be between corporations fighting for physical resources and territory, essentially corporate armies with advanced weapons. What we got instead are information wars where corporations fight for attention, data, and narrative control. Google versus. Facebook isn't fought with weapons, but with algorithms. Amazon versus retail isn't fought with violence, but with supply chain dominance. These information wars are more destructive than physical corporate wars because they undermine truth itself. When corporations control information flow, they don't need armies. They can manipulate entire populations through targeted misinformation, algorithmic bias, and behavioral modification. Blade Runner's corporate wars would have been obvious. Our information wars are invisible, which makes them more dangerous. So what did Blade Runner get right about 2025? Almost everything, just not in the way they showed us. We got replicants, but they're digital instead of biological. We got memory implants, but they're called social media. We got corporate control of society, but through information instead of physical force. We got environmental collapse, but with corporate profit instead of corporate accountability. Blade Runner got the soul of our technological future exactly right, even when the specific technologies were wrong. The film understood that technology wouldn't liberate us. It would create new forms of exploitation and control. The most prophetic thing about Blade Runner wasn't the flying cars or artificial humans. It was the feeling, the sense that technology was making us less human rather than more human. That advanced capabilities were creating more problems than they solved. In 2025, we're living in Blade Runner's emotional landscape even without its physical technologies. We have the corporate dominance, environmental crisis, wealth inequality, and existential questions about what makes us human. The question isn't whether Blade Runner predicted our world, it clearly did. The question is whether we want to continue building toward Blade Runner's vision or whether we can still choose a different technological future. Because unlike the replicants, we still have the power to rewrite our own programming. What do you think? Did Blade Runner predict? And if you enjoyed this deep dive, also let me know which science fiction film